With the introduction of the MCU's strongest superhero yet making her debut on the big screen this March, and Avengers End Game slowly approaching on the horizon after that, there's a whole lot of questions about who will make their way into the franchise's Phase 4 films, and what kinds of power our heroes will inevitably have to take on, or have at their side. The Marvel comics are filled to the brim with OPed characters, any of which are fascinating heroes and villains who were constructed to be complex individuals in correlation to their abilities. So today, we're taking a look at some of those individuals and taking a guess at which of them will be ruled out by Marvel Studios, with our list of the top 10 Marvel characters who are too strong for the MCU. Now there's quite a few and we left out a good chunk of them, so let us know in those comments afterwards if we included your picks on our list, or if we should do part 2. Now let's get to it. And at number 10, Captain Universe. Captain Universe was first introduced in Micronauts issue 8. He's a character who possesses something called the Unipower, an extra-dimensional force that transforms you into Captain Universe and gives you superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, durability, power enhancement, and enhanced senses. Yeah, it's a lot. He can also use energy blasts, fly, is telekinetic, and perhaps one of his most deadly abilities, he can time travel. There have been many individuals who have hosted the Unipower, with 32 characters on Earth 616 having hosted it at some point over the years, from 1979 onwards. It's also changed its name to the Enigma Force these days too. All in all, seems like kind of a complicated character to introduce to the MCU. And at number 9, the Sentry. The Sentry is a character that many believe will never see the light of day in an MCU film. First and foremost, the character's abilities are quite similar to those of DC's Superman, so that might bring about a few legal troubles for Marvel Studios. Second, let's just, count out what he's capable of. Superhuman strength, stamina and speed, regenerative healing factor, light manipulation, psionic powers, flight, molecular manipulation, which is a bit of a theme on this list with that power to be honest, energy absorption, gravity manipulation, teleportation. Oh, and he's also immortal. No big deal. So imagine what he could do with all of those powers. It's a bit much. On top of that, his other half is the Void, a villainous identity that resulted in the Sentry having to put himself into a self-induced state of amnesia in order to protect the Marvel Universe from himself turning into it. And at number 8, Mangog. Mangog is traditionally a Thor villain, first having appeared in Thor issue 154 back in 1968. He's described as a being the sum total of the hatred of a billion beings, who has superhuman strength, stamina, durability, endurance, can shapeshift, is capable of energy protection via magic manipulation, can feed off the hatred of sentient beings, and of course, is immortal. Now the saving grace for our pal Mangog here is that he's a being who could potentially be adapted in a similar fashion as Surtur was in Thor Ragnarok, but likely won't be a main villain of Thor's. Hey, who knows? That MCU, they always pulling surprises on us. And at number 7, Onslaught. Onslaught first appeared on the panels of Marvel Comics in 1996, in X-Men Volume 2, issue 53, after Charles Xavier accidentally created him when psionically attacking Magneto. Xavier, who attacked Magneto after he ripped the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton, caused Magneto to go catatonic. But in the process, the metal manipulator's anger, grief, and desire for vengeance entered Xavier's consciousness, growing into a separate persona known as Onslaught, a character who has psychic omnipotence. The Avengers and Fantastic Four, upon learning of a way to finally defeat Onslaught, actually sacrificed themselves in order to bring an end to the abomination. Luckily, it was revealed that they were all reborn in a pocket universe, and all was well. Yay, comics! The character would later return in a second form with the powers of Franklin Richards, Nate Gray, Professor X, and Magneto combined. All in all, that's kind of a lot. Maybe, in like 10 years from now, and when the X-Men are actually introduced. And at 6, SKAAR. If you thought the Hulk in the comics was way too OP, well, here's his son. SKAAR first appeared in What If Planet Hulk issue 1 back in 2007. He's the product of Bruce Banner's Hulk and extraterrestrial SKAAR, from whom the character would inherit old power from. Now, old power allows him to draw energy from the planet itself, which in this case is SKAAR. So imagine a character with the powers of the Hulk, strength, endurance, stamina, all of the regenerative abilities that increase the anger that he gets, and an extra bit of power that is essentially a synthesized form of the power cosmic. Yeah, deadly. Granted, the way the Hulk has been depicted in the MCU has really diffused that issue, so it could be possible that SKAAR might still see the light of day on the big screen, but adapted in a way that doesn't make him the most OP superhero ever. That being said, the chances of us getting a World War Hulk film seem quite unlikely, and bringing SKAAR into the fray otherwise might be a little left field. And like mildly confusing a little bit. Bruce Banner's still working through some stuff, guys. I don't think he has time for a kid yet. And at number 5, KORVAC. Michael KORVAC, commonly known by just his last name, first appeared in Giant Size Defenders issue 3 back in 1975. Who is he? Well, he's a fellow with the ability to manipulate energy via a specialized computer module, and can wield the power cosmic. He's also a master strategist and brilliant computer scientist to boot. Initially, he was created as a throwaway character, with his creator Steve Gerber calling him more, I quote, of a vacuum cleaner than a villain. He would eventually go on to be an antagonist of the Avengers in what is called the KORVAC saga in Avengers issue 167 to 177 back in 1978. He killed the Avengers, then resurrected them and took his own life, feeling upset that no one else could possibly defeat him. And at number 4, the Goblin Entity. The Goblin Entity, otherwise known as the Goblin Force, is kind of similar to the Phoenix Force, but significantly worse. It has limitless power, which derives from a ravenous hunger that cannot be fulfilled. It has consumed whole galaxies, and even consumed the Phoenix Force when it came across it. Even Celestials couldn't fully bring about its demise. When consuming others, it gains their powers, so the full extent of its capabilities is actually unknown. It can consume and remove a near infinite amount of molecules per second. It's the nexus of all psionic energy. It's capable of sorcery and shadow morphing, of cosmic manipulation, and it can alter time and space itself. It can also transmigrate through time and space by folding its energy back into itself, causing it to collapse like a black hole. Then it reforms itself upon reaching its destination. It exists on Earth 1298, luckily, also known as the Mutant X-verse, and manages to possess the life force of Marvel Girl, who is Madeline Pryor in that universe, but later jumps ship to the comatose body of the Beyonder. It would go on to kill most of Earth's heroes, including the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, and Namor, and was only stopped by Havoc, who had the nexus of all realities within him, using it to separate the Force from Madeline and defeat it. Moving on to number 3, Molecule Man. After being bombarded by an unknown form of radiation from an experimental particle generator that he accidentally activated, Molecule Man, aka Owen Reese, became one of the most powerful individuals in the Marvel Universe. His powers consist of the ability to warp reality and molecular manipulation. He can control all matter and all energy. When the Watcher alerted the Fantastic Four that he may be a threat, the group took him on, eventually tricking him to win, with the Watcher placing him in confinement in another dimensional world. Initially, Molecule Man was hindered by self-deadened insecurities, subduing his power and restricting him to only being able to manipulate inorganic matter. But over time that changed, and he's been able to manipulate the likes of Mjolnir and the Silver Surfer's surfboard. These days, he's more of a good guy, thankfully, but that doesn't mean that some of the universe's most powerful entities aren't still a little scared by him. Both Galactus and the Beyonder have made it clear that they could be threatened by Reese, with Galactus even saying that the character could destroy him with merely a thought. Yikes. And at number 2, Oblivion. It's often debated whether or not Oblivion is the strongest character to ever exist in the entire Marvel Universe. It is an abstract cosmic entity who represents non-existence, and is a counterforce to the universe expanding. It's another aspect of the entity Death, but do not get them confused. Death is like a sibling to Oblivion, along with Infinity and Eternity. It's omnipotent and represents the inevitable ending of all things. It can manifest wherever, whenever, and can empower others with however much power he desires in order to act in his name. His strength level is near infinite, and he has infinite cosmic powers. He hasn't really messed around with Earth's heroes all that much, minus a few instances like when he sought out his daughter Mirage, or when his agents fought against the Great Lake Avengers. So it doesn't seem like Oblivion really has a reason to be adapted into the MCU anytime soon. Perhaps Marvel Studios feels that it may even be best that if abstract entities like himself and Infinity and Eternity are left on the panels. Death wasn't even adapted in Avengers Infinity War, despite playing a crucial role in Thanos' storyline in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, much of which it is based off of. And finally, in at number 1, The One Above All. The One Above All has a very self-explanatory name. Literally, they are the one who is the most powerful of the multiverse, above all other entities. The Living Tribunal is under them, although the two are said to be in perfect alignment with one another. First appearing in Fantastic Four issue 511 back in 2004, it is stated to be the supreme being within the multiverse. It is omnipotent and above all other cosmic powers and abstract entities. The One Above All is an entity that has rarely been seen in the comics or explored as much as entities like the Living Tribunal have, but it still has a significant presence. And while the Living Tribunal may be getting an MCU adaptation if fan theories are correct, it's hard to imagine why the One Above All would be necessary in that cinematic universe, considering they're at the very top of the food chain in terms of power and ability. Kinda makes sense why the One Above All hasn't had a whole lot of comic appearances now, doesn't it? Alright, there we have it, friends. What other powerful characters from the Marvel multiverse can you think of that could have fit this list? Give us a shout in those comments below and tell us your thoughts. If you dug this video, as always, spread that love and hit that like button. And hey, why not stick around with us some more and subscribe? We even have a little playlist currently flashing on your screen that you might dig, so you know, go on, give it a click. In the meantime though, thanks for tuning in to Top 10 Nerd. I'll catch you all in the next one.